I have a holiday tradition in my life. So every year I close down my business, no clients, no meetings, no anything else for about a week between Christmas and New Year's. And I do it for two reasons. The first one is to play with my family. And the second one is to think about my business. Because one of the things I find is when I'm in the day-to-day business of running a business, I sometimes don't do a good enough job of devoting time to thinking about my business. Now, this year, there are no kids around to play with. So I am scheduling like half-hour blocks with each of my grandkids via Zoom so I can spend some time just with them. But separate from that, now let's talk about the thinking about business part. So here's what I do during this period of time. I like to pull up my numbers, look at my numbers, see how I'm doing versus prior years. And I also tend to ask myself a series of very important questions. And so what I thought I would do is to share those questions with you. Now, I realize some of you may not do this during the holidays. That's just fine. It doesn't matter when you do it. These questions are still valuable no matter when you do them. And ask yourself these questions. But these are worth spending some time with a journal and pondering and brainstorming and asking yourself some key questions. All right? All right. So here we go. Number one, what is holding me back in my business? What's keeping me from achieving more, achieving my goals, achieving whatever? And it could be that I've achieved my goals and it's been an amazing year and everything. Maybe in that case, it's like, what's holding me back from being even more than I am right now? Okay, number two. And this one's very related to the first one. What are three things that will move my business forward the most? What are three things that'll move my business forward the most? And so what I tend to do when I think about this is I'm thinking big picture kinds of things. So it might be, one of them might be building my list. The second one might be to finally get a funnel done for this particular piece of the business. It might be that I need to do a better job of, I need to increase my conversion. You know, big picture kinds of things, as opposed to I need to get this particular project done, which I realize the second one of those of getting the funnel done for this particular business might be an improper way of saying that. Let's just throw that example out. It's like, okay, I need to build more funnels for my business, or I need to finally nail a launch for my business, whatever that is. Okay. So big picture, what are those big projects and things that need to be done to do that? Okay. Next, you look at those three areas and you say, what is my goal in each of those areas? So right now I'm just going to pull numbers out of the air. Okay. I've got 40,000 people on my email list. My goal is by the end of the year to have 75,000. Or I've got 5,000 followers on Instagram. My goal is to have 20,000 by the end of the year. Whatever those are, to set specific goals in each of those areas. And it may be, remember, these three areas that we talked about are big picture. And so it may be that you have 3 or 4 goals in each of those areas. But what I'm really looking for is ideally the one big goal that you can say, okay, am I on track? Am I not on track? All right. Next question. What is the best way to achieve that goal? So there's many different strategies and tactics we can use to do almost anything. So here what you're doing is you're sorting through those strategies and tactics and say, here's what I currently think is the best way for me to achieve that goal. Now, I also realize as I'm doing this that I may make a mistake when I determine what the best way is. And so it may be that 3 months down the road, I need to shift what that best way is. I don't change my goal for the year. I just change how I'm going about achieving that goal. But what we're doing here at this point in time is saying, okay, here's my current belief as to what my best way is to achieve that. Next, you take those goals and you ask yourself, how am I measuring my progress on each of them? Have I got a system? Have I got key progress indicators, KPIs? Have I got a dashboard? Have I got some kind of a meeting that I hold with myself once a week or once a month where I look at these numbers? And so I'm able to determine whether or not I'm actually making progress towards that goal and whether that goal is on target for where I want it to be. One of the key things that I have discovered or make a difference between successful big businesses and people who never get there is that the people who get there are people who set and track. They set goals, they determine what's necessary to get there, and then they track their progress towards getting there and modify their actions to change their progress so that hopefully you're constantly moving towards that goal. On the other hand, the people who don't tend to succeed are the people who halfway through the year discover that they're not anywhere close to achieving their goals, so they change their goal. That right there oftentimes makes the difference between those that succeed and those who don't. You don't change your goal, you change what you're doing to achieve your goal and keep the same goal. And part of that comes down to this, which is, how much time have I in the past been spending on these three big things that I need to do to achieve success in my business? And my gut feeling is what you're going to find is, let's say one of those is to build my list. And if you go back and you honestly evaluate your life and how you actually spend your time, you're going to find that you're spending less than 5% of your time on that major action. And once you realize that, then you start asking yourself the question, hey, how can I spend more of my attention on those? Now, I realize that some of you may have a staff of 10 people. And so maybe it's what you do is you are shifting one of your meetings each week to be around each one of those goals. And you're meeting with the people who are actually doing that. That's why I didn't say, how can I spend more of my time on that? I asked, how can I spend more of my attention on that so that the attention of everyone moves towards achieving these three things that are the core things that are going to drive your business forward. And then the final one is the why, is the why, big why question is, how will my life be different when I achieve that goal? So this is helping you get the why around it to motivate yourself to do the how as it has to happen. So, bunch of questions here. The reason why I'm inviting you to think through these questions is that these are different than what most people do. What most people do is they say, okay, what are my goals for the year? I want to make $150,000 this next year. Great. Okay. I write it on my New Year's goals. But they never spend, and they may even say, okay, I'm going to achieve that by doing X. But most of us never go back to our existing business, the things that we're doing right now, and say, hey, where are the holes in what I'm doing right now? How can I shift my behavior and the attention of my people, whether it's you or a number of people, whatever that is, to start achieving that? And then how am I going to track that process to get there. And by the way, hey, I'm going to be honest with myself and realize I'm spending almost no time on that, even though it's a key element of my business. And what do I need to do to change that? So when you go through this process, all of a sudden you get a really powerful indication of what you ought to and what you can be doing differently in your life and in your business. So there you go. Please spend time relaxing this holiday. Goodness knows we all need it this year. But I also suggest you don't just spend the entire time relaxing. Spend some time when you haven't got the day-to-day pressures of your business on you, thinking big strategic thoughts to help you become more, be more, and be happier this upcoming year. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.